everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Rovers podcast, brought to you by Menza and also half by Lachy Miller. A pretty action-packed episode for today. Of course, we're going to have a chat with Lachy, Ryder, Henchie, and of course the big roaming has, who the three of them are all going to have pretty big years in YouTube, as well as talking about some footy, of course. Let's get straight into it. Hello everybody, and we are now with Roaming Has, who is the first person we've ever got on the Rovers podcast. Has, it's great to have you on.
Thanks for having me, mate. It's an absolute privilege. Feel very honoured.
Yeah, well, I've got a couple of questions lined up, and then really just a little bit of some top four predictions at the end. But we'll start off with your recent encounter with Sam Draper. It was a pretty amazing encounter. How long did it take? Like 30 episodes of the TikToks, or
It took a while. Me and my mate figured out taking us about 10 months in total to do.
Jeez.
But it was worth it. Definitely worth it. He made us work for it. We finally got it done, which is good.
Yeah, he definitely did. And of course, you've uploaded your behind the scenes. Was there any special moments from coming from that? Was just the whole thing?
Just the whole thing was kind of incredible. It was kind of shocking to me, because there were, it wasn't an open training. It was a private training, so there wasn't anyone there. There were a couple people there, of course, but, on the outside, it was pretty much just me and Hen, but then there was, nobody else. So, if a ball would come over the fence, you just get to kick it straight back to the players would talk to you. It just felt really one-on-one, which is super sick. The whole day was just absolutely awesome. It was just such an incredible moment.
And he's a great bloke in person, I'd imagine. I've never actually met him before, but you've had a couple encounters with him, of course. Your famous first episode, and then I'm pretty sure the grand final week, and then have you met him once more, or?
Those are the only two times on the YouTube channel. I have met him at a function that happened at a local football club near my house. Apart from that, that's it. And he's just a genuine bloke. He's really nice. He's there for a chat. Even the first time I met him, he could have just easily just walked past. But he was there, happy to talk for a little bit. He's a great bloke. Absolutely love him to bits.
Yeah, it was a great video. I mean, he absolutely though ripped you up in the big challenge. That goal, the soccer goal, I could not believe he kicked that.
It's ridiculous. You don't actually understand how good AFL players are until you're right up close to them, and not something that everyone gets to experience. But kicking the football with them, that's when you realise how actually good they are. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it was a pretty amazing experience, and we'll hop on to the next question now, which is really just about your channel. Last year was your first year in YouTube, and one of the, I think, greatest first years in AFL YouTube. I think your original video was the best video I saw the whole year. So what do you expect? I talked to you earlier in the year, when I think you're about 2 or 3 episodes in, and you just said you'd want to make just a lot more content, and you did. So what are you expecting to go through in 2023?
I'm hoping that 2023 is going to be a big year for me and my YouTube channel. I've got a few plans going into the AFL season, some stuff in the works. It's going to be a great year. I want to try and upload a bit more, maybe go to a game once every 2 weeks, and try and get that out just so we have a lot more episodes. But it's going to be good. It's going to be good fun, and some good content coming.
Are you going to just stick to AFL games, or, more Big Bash games, or are you even going to go into something different, A-League or NBL?
Who knows? We might just have to stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll stay tuned.
See what happens.
2023 should be a big year for the AFL community. Honestly, I think it could be the biggest one. With, of course, there's a pretty elite group of YouTubers now with, Has, Cardi. I know you won't like to hear this, but Lachy Miller.
I'm leaving. See you later, mate. I've had enough of this now. I
What?
don't want to hear about Lockie Miller.
No,
No,
what?
no.
what? What is going on with you and Lochy? Like, surely you can give us a couple words.
Oh, I have more than just a couple words to say about Lockie Miller, but we'll keep it short. I want to box him. We're going to do a boxing match. Roaming Has versus Roaming Has from Wish, but he keeps saying no, he's just a bit too scared, so...
Oh, well, hopefully we get a boxing match. That'll be a pretty great event. I don't know how. You reckon Marvel Stadium or
No, we're going all out. We're going the G. The
the
G wants to host
MCG?
it. They've contacted us. They're like, it's the biggest event in the last 100 years, so they're like, they have to host it, so I think
Yeah.
that's where it's going to happen.
You are a Hawks supporter, but I don't know if you really are anymore. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
What a lot of people don't know is, like, it does sound a bit strange. My favourite player is Sam Draper, but I am a through and through Hawks man. I will always be a Hawks man. I will never switch. But going down to my favourite player it is Sam Draper, but I will always be a Hawks man.
How do you think the Hawks are going to go? Because I'm a diehard Hawks fan, and to be honest, I got pretty high aspirations for the Hawks, probably higher than most people would. But quite honestly, how do you think they're going to go?
Well, for me, I think it's either two things that could happen. We could easily just do horribly, just tank this year and finish bottom two, or we could have like a Collingwood type season with young players and just everyone just has an incredible season and we make the 8. So it's either we finish bottom two or we finish in the 8. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I'd love us to finish in the 8, but I feel like for the future, finishing bottom 4 this year wouldn't be that bad of a thing.
We get a nice pick. We already have some great young players, a new draft pick, a high draft pick. We are looking very good for our future. We do have a lot of really good young talent, a good, like, not young, but youngish coach. So I think the culture of Hawthorn's going to be absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and the Dons, since you are pretty much, a little bit of a Dons man, how do you reckon the Dons are going to go?
I think the Dons will do horrible. For being honest, I'm going to say 15th for the Dons.
Yeah, I think 15's a bit high, to be honest. I reckon they could finish bottom 4.
No, see, the thing is, I'm going to say 15th. Well, they could easily do horrible and come, like, bottom 4. But if everyone, like, they have a good list, so if everyone on their list actually, like, performs and plays consistently, they could get really close to the 8. Like, they have a great midfield. Like, they've even got, like, Dylan Shield that people are forgetting about now, and when I saw him when we played Pig against Drapes, he looked incredible, so I reckon he's going to have a big year this year. But there's a lot of people that I think, like, a lot of players that I think people are forgetting about on the Essendon list that could help them move up there in the ladder this year, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it should be quite an interesting year. I think also another team that was pretty shit last year that could come up is North Melbourne, but I honestly think they could come up a fair bit, but...
I rate that. I rate that. Under Clarko, I think they could move up.
Under Clarko, I feel like Clarko is just he's an influential person. He could change a club around quite quickly.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and just give us you've already kind of given us your bottom 4 predictions. Top 4 predictions for 2023. What are your top 4 predictions?
I'm going to say the Swans finish on top.
That's a good call.
The D's second.
Yep.
I'm going to say the Pies third. And I'm going to take the Lions fourth. And then Freo just miss out on the top 4. But Geelong will do nothing. Geelong will finish... if the best Geelong will do is 8th, I reckon.
Yeah, I can't get around Geelong. I mean, I got Lachy in my year telling me, Geelong's going to win the premiership again. They're going to win the premiership again.
Nah,
I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening.
Too old, too slow.
I completely agree with you. But if I had to pick my top 4, I'd probably honestly go Brisbane at number 1, then Melbourne, then Sydney, and then I'd probably go Collingwood. But I feel like Brisbane could win the Premier. I feel like the only two teams that can win the Premiership is Brisbane or Melbourne.
Yeah, I rate that, but I feel like we've been saying that every year for the past 4 years for
Yeah,
Brisbane, and they always do so well in the home and away season, and then they just get to the finals and just do nothing. They get out early, don't perform, just crack under the pressure.
yeah, I completely agree with you. I just don't. I don't know. I just feel like Brisbane and Port Adelaide. I feel like they have to win one. They've been good for so long. It'd be pretty disappointing
Wait,
if
you
they
said
don't win
Port
one.
Adelaide.
Well, Port Adelaide, they're probably not going to do too great. I mean, they've been good for so long. They have surely sometime soon. Well, thanks for getting on the first episode of
Thanks
the
for having me, mate.
podcast. Hopefully you can get on a couple times soon.
For sure.
But yeah, everyone go subscribe to Roaming Has. He makes some great videos. As I said,
No, we subscribe to Menza. Everyone
no,
subscribe to Menza.
as I said, that I reckon the best video I saw last year was Roaming Has' first video. So, yeah, go check out some great content with Roaming Has, and yeah, thanks for getting on the show for the first time.
Thanks for having me, Menza.
All right, Lachy. So we were meant to do the podcast together, but what ended up happening with that? I reckon you could explain it.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much my fault. I pretty much locked in that I do the podcast with you, and then I had a thought. I think I'm gonna be interstate a few weeks. I'm really busy with my own content. I don't want to promise you that I can be there every week, so I thought, you know what? I'll let you know just before the season starts, and you can do it solo.
Yeah, I was honestly a little disappointed, but you know, I thought I've still got to go on with it. So good to get you on for the first episode though. And Lachy, you had possibly well, you did have your biggest year last year, doing a mix of interviews and other content. What do you expect to go into next year? Because we expect some pretty high things, especially some weekly uploads. So what do we expect for you in 2023?
Well, it's all about consistency for me. I reckon I'm trying to get 2 to 3 uploads a week and then live streams. Really just trying to ease myself into it at the moment. Got a few more interview videos coming out, but yeah, it's really just about consistency. I've got to try and get a few more videos out, and the quality just needs to go up a little bit, I reckon. You should be right.
Yeah, I was honestly a bit disappointed with you uploading these past couple months. It's been pretty horrific from you, your standards especially.
Not good.
No, it's been not great at all.
Well, off season, it's hard to upload off season. It's hard.
I know, but you've been uploading some cricket content as well.
I have, but cricket's just not my style. Wait till we get back into footy content. I'll be uploading 2 to 3 times a week, maybe even 4 times.
You are a Cats fan, of course. They did win the premiership, unfortunately. I genuinely don't think you have a chance of winning another premiership for at least 10 years. No, at least 10 years. I don't think you have a chance. You don't have a chance for 10 years.
Right, you tipped Hawthorn in the top 8, but you don't reckon Cats have a chance. Like, that's disgraceful.
No, I tipped Geelong in the top 8. I just don't think they have a chance.
We're the flag favourites, mate.
The flag favourites, my ass. I'd say Brisbane or Sydney are flag favourites.
Brisbane are irrelevant. They're not going to do well. People are expecting too much from Brisbane. They'll bottom out, make a prelim maybe.
They're not going to bottom out. I don't know. I feel like Brisbane and Melbourne are going to win the premiership. It's going to be out of those teams.
Oh, I don't know. Well, if you saw, Elijah Wilson tipped Melbourne to be like 15th, so...
What?
People are losing faith. That's all I'll say.
I think they still have to win a premiership in Melbourne. To be honest, I don't think the premiership in Optus counts.
No, fake year. Same as 2020 didn't count. It's a fake year.
It's a fake year because it's not at the G.
Yeah, doesn't count. Night time as well. It's shocking.
Yeah, well, we've heard a couple of things about Twilight Grand Finals, especially Caden McDonald's video where he said Twilight Grand Finals in for 2023. I have a lot of respect for Caden. I'm hoping we can get him on the show at some point. But just the thought of a Twilight Grand Final every year, it's just...
Well, what time does it start now? Like, what, 2:10?
Yeah, like 2 or 3.
I reckon it could be maybe bumped up half an hour. It always sort of creeps up on you, I feel. You sort of wake up, you ease into it, and then all of a sudden pre-game entertainment's on, and you're just sitting on the couch. It creeps up a little bit. I can push it back half an hour, That's the perfect time. Maybe 3:30 would be a good time. But
Yeah,
not Twilight.
I think it's just too classic. I don't think you can. I like really traditional stuff.
You are a traditional.
I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I like all the traditional jumpers and all that. But I think just keep the grand final the way it is, and it shouldn't have been Melbourne. We shouldn't do what the. Wait, no, it should be Melbourne. It should be Melbourne. We shouldn't do. We shouldn't do what the A League should be doing and selling off it to states. But yeah, I reckon the Melbourne Grand Final is the best sporting event in Australia.
In the world.
In the world, possibly. And we'll get on to world sporting events. Now, I don't really want to talk about this, but the NFL, what are your thoughts on the World Super Bowl? Because we know...
Well, it's the world game, but is it... I don't know.
It's not the world game. Soccer's the world game.
It's the world game. Sorry, it's not the world game, but just I feel like it's just so irrelevant in Australia that no one can get around it. Like, you have like your really obscure people that get around the NFL Super Bowl.
Well, who are you alluding to?
Absolute freaks, those blokes. Maybe Jimbo and a few others. But it's just, how can you watch it? They run, they stop, they tackle. They run, they stop, they tackle. There's no free flowing. It's the most boring game in the world. It's like one of the most boring games in the world. So yeah,
I can completely agree with you because I just don't see the hype around it, to be honest, especially when we have such great games in Australia. The Ashes, cricket, pretty much any other sport, the Super Netball. I'd watch this. Yeah, I'd watch the Super Netball over the old NFL.
Agree.
And you've been going to some NBL games.
NBL, yeah.
Can you get it? Yeah. What? Who? Do you go for South East Melbourne Phoenix or?
Oh, Melbourne United.
I'm Melbourne United. I don't see the interest around the Phoenix.
The atmosphere at NBL games is unreal. Like, you wouldn't expect it. They don't get too big a crowd, but the atmosphere they bring is louder than some AFL games. Genuinely.
Yeah. I don't know. I went to an NBL game a couple of years ago. It honestly wasn't that bad, but I feel like it's just such an irrelevant league. It's pretty much like it's like the A League. It's just so irrelevant.
Like, yeah, the A League's dead now. Like, seriously.
It's so relevant. And as of filming yesterday, Melbourne City got beaten 3-2.
Yeah, not the greatest.
And
really not looking at a victory, but whatever. Move on.
Yeah, and we'll head back onto football content. Gold Coast, I know you're a big supporter of the interstate clubs, Gold Coast, GWS. What's your favourite, GWS or Gold Coast?
It's got to be Gold Coast, mate. They just get around the Suns. I'm telling you, they're making the game one of the best teams. There's something about the Suns' culture. Just the culture they have around their club. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful to be a part of.
Yeah, I'm pretty much donning the red and gold this year. I bought a Gold Coast jumper for like $4 in an op shop. So
yeah, huge.
I gotta go to some Gold Coast games, and it should. Oh, is there actually a good atmosphere there?
Unreal atmosphere. It's unreal. We're bringing A-League or soccer style atmosphere to the Gold Coast games. Round 2, I believe it is. Marvel Stadium, Essendon. Everyone get down.
I'm actually might go to that. I was thinking about going to it. How much wait, I was gonna buy the memberships for Gold Coast. They're quite cheap.
Yeah, they're cheap. They're cheapest in the league. I don't know
High
why.
quality football.
There's no point buying one, really, but...
No, the tickets are about $5. Your Cats, we did talk about that a little bit, but what's your top 4, and is the Cats in it?
Top 4, I'm not sure exactly where everyone is yet. I haven't done my predictions video yet. I need to get onto that. But top 4, I've definitely got Geelong in there. I've definitely got Port Adelaide in there.
That's
It's cool. I know, it's massive cool. I've definitely got Richmond in there. So
Richmond, I say Richmond going like very far down.
That's a big call. I've got Geelong, Richmond, Port Adelaide, and then let's say maybe Melbourne, right at the top 4. But that's top 4.
I talked about Haz with this. My top 4 is Melbourne, number 1, Brisbane, Geelong, then Collingwood.
It's 2 stock standard for me.
You reckon?
I reckon Collingwood, they've already started their season off pretty. Collingwood, they're going to drop a little bit. They've had a rough start to the season with the Jack Ginnivan drug saga, I guess you could say. So I reckon they're going to drop a little bit. They got quite lucky last year, so I feel like they're not going to be able to sustain that. They might drop a little bit. Still make the 8, but not as convincingly.
Speaking of the drug saga going on at Collingwood, we've had Jack Inman with a 4-match ban.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the illicit drugs in AFL? If they're not performance enhancing, what's your point?
Yeah, and especially when it's in the off season, I feel it's not. Like, I don't know if you agree with this, but if it's in the off season, it's not. Is it really match ban? I know he's in the public eye, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think he should have done it. And personally, I think he should have had it been delisted because of it. Because I hate him and I hate Collingwood. And I don't reckon he should have it because they have a spot on an AFL list anymore. But really,
Jeez,
like,
that's...
if like I just don't. They're sort of overreacting. The media's overreacting a little bit, but they always do.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Bailey Smith honestly got more of a bad rap than...
Yeah, I agree. I feel for Bailey Smith.
Yeah, but it's still stupid and...
Stupid.
Really shouldn't have done it, considering you're a professional football player.
What are your thoughts on he got a $5,000 fine, which like $5,000 to him? What is that worth? Like seriously, he's on the how much money a year?
It's like a zinger box to him.
Yeah, I know. Like seriously, $5,000. What sort of punishment is that? You might as well say 50 grand. Like, I don't think $5,000 is really.
Yeah.
$0.
And you know, there's like a year prison sentence for taking illegal substances.
Yeah,
But just because they're footy players, they could just skip it.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid.
It is very, very stupid. Well, another thing I'd also like to ask is, I was talking about this with Haz, and how I said I reckon the best YouTube video in the AFL community of the whole year was his first video. What's your best video of 2022?
Well, I know what it is, but this is controversial, but people really got around it. It's Cardman 22's Omegle predictions for 2023 video.
But, mate, you were in it though.
Yeah, I know I was in it, but it was one of the best videos. It was seriously, it was so high quality.
What about one that you're not in?
That I'm not in. Oh, I don't really watch any videos that I'm not in. No, I don't know. Hazard's video was pretty good, yeah. I'll give him that.
I agree, Haz's was pretty good. And another thing I would like to talk about is Haz wants to organise the boxing match.
No. No boxing match.
Yeah, he said...
This is a little teaser. This is a Rovers podcast exclusive. Me and Haz could be teaming up in the future. So...
What?
We'll be teaming up in the future. You've heard it here first, Rovers podcast exclusive. So, we're doing a little bit of KSI Logan Paul. We're enemies at the start, and then they, break the ice, they start making content together. So, look forward to that.
Jeez, that is absolutely massive. Haz didn't tell me that. That's breaking news.
Yeah,
That's almost the biggest news I've heard. It's absolutely massive, and there's massive things to come in the AFL community. Of course, you've told me a few. I don't think I can say them on the podcast, but you've listed me off a couple ideas, which they're pretty damn good, and they're pretty big, getting pretty much everyone involved. But what would be your main tip for younger YouTubers?
Best tip would be get into the AFL community. If you're doing AFL, get into the community. It's how I really lifted myself. I went from about 500 subs to now over 2K in 6-7 months. So get in the community, upload consistently, but you don't need to upload too much. The higher quality, the better, but less is more, I feel, as well.
Yeah, and TikTok. I know you're a big TikToker. Uploading the clips. Is that another useful way to grow your channel?
It is. It's a very useful way, especially if you have high quality TikToks. They're always going to go a long way. I haven't really got into the TikTok high quality videos yet. I've sort of just been uploading a few clips here and there, and some of them have done really well. But if you can upload high production TikToks, that can really go a long way to help out your channel. For sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Lachy, for hopping on. It's been great to see you on the Rovers podcast, and hopefully you can tune in every couple of weeks. Hopefully. everyone go subscribe to Lachy. He makes some great videos. Lots more videos to come in the future. Oh, before we end, what are your thoughts on Sporting Lads?
Oh, Sporting Lads, that's what it's all about now. So, Sporting Lads, just, you might as well unsubscribe.
Yeah, it's all Rovers now. Anyway, thanks, Lachy, for hopping on.
Cheers for having me on, mate.
So... Alright, so we're now with the one and only Ryder Henchie. So good to have you on, Ryder. Super excited.
Yeah, absolutely keen. Cheers for getting me on. I appreciate it. And pleasure to be a part of the first episode.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've had 3 legends of the YouTube community on for the first episode, so yeah, it feels pretty great. And first off, I'll just talk about your channel. You're a pretty influential YouTuber. I mean, you've done quite a bit in the AFL community in quite a short time. Getting 5k subs, is it?
Yeah, just over 5k hit a couple months ago. Just sort of last year was a real big takeoff. 2020 started taking the channel seriously. 2021 was like probably the big leap that just started all this momentum boost. So yeah, when I started in 2021, like sort of gaining a following, getting recognized and everything, that's when it sort of, started off going really well. And then last year as well, just another spike in subs, views, etc. And yeah, just a record-breaking year for the channel as well. So this year, pumped. Hopefully we can get some more record-breaking milestones on the channel.
Yeah, I mean, the quality on your channel, it's pretty amazing. And it's clear you've been doing YouTube for a while. I mean, you know everything about the algorithm and built a pretty great following. And we know you're a bit of a fitness person.
Mm-hmm.
This is an interesting question. What are your main fitness tips?
Main fitness tips. Well, I'm not going to sit here and say train like an athlete because, look, I don't enjoy training like an athlete that much. So you can call me Prime Bus as much as you like, and that's what everyone usually does. But main tips on fitness, depending on the sport and everything, like if you want to play footy, it really depends on positioning. It depends on everything, really. So do whatever you're happy with and whatever you like start seeing results in, I guess.
Yeah. I myself, I've been trying to get into some decent fitness things. I've just been struggling though a bit. Just consistency, really. I don't know. I struggle with consistency. But yeah, I know you've been working hard with Druzy and Prime
Druzy
Train.
And the goat.
How does it feel? I'm guessing
It's crazy.
Prime Train's a pretty big influence of
it's
you.
crazy. It's crazy. I think it was around this time last year. I made one TikTok just doing one of his workouts. Then he commented on it. Then I hit him up on Instagram. He replied. And then we sort of just went back. He followed me on his Tom Bolsh account. And then a couple of weeks ago when I started, being an affiliate for him, he followed me on his main Prime Train account, which was bloody crazy just saying that. Seriously, it made me so happy. But it's been crazy just over this last year with the GOAT.
Yeah, and on his YouTube channel, he makes match day vlogs and a lot of content around his games. And last year, I think right at the end of the year, we saw you make that video of you commentating over your game. Is that? Can we say that coming in the future for your channel?
100%. Every home game this year, I'm going to get out the camera and get someone, one of my family members, to film it from the car. It's going to be elite, and I'll just make sure. It sort of just motivates me to push that extra bit harder and just get the extra stats. However, new league this year, so probably crapper league as well. Like, they're not very great, so it's going to be, a lot easier and hopefully a few more touches here and there. And, definitely expecting it for pretty much the entirety of this season.
Yeah, what else can we expect from your channel content-wise? Because, as I said this with Haz and Lachy, I feel like 2023 is going to be the biggest year for AFL YouTube. There's so many new people. How do you feel like you're going to progress?
Yeah, I do agree. There is a lot of new people, which sort of gives me a bit more competition, to be honest. But not trying to brag or anything, but being like one of the bigger influencers out there than like a lot of the smaller creators starting, it's going to be a little bit easier to get that little kickstart into the footy content. However, Look, what do you expect from me this year? Probably, obviously, the match day vlogs are gonna be huge. Training vlogs, probably a bit more like fitness and getting in the gym and all that. Bit more of that, and then also just the usual vlogs. The match day vlogs are so fun to film. They do so well. Everyone in the Freo Cheer squad loves me. Comes up to me. You the bloke that filmed the vlog last week. Like, yeah, just the vlogs are going to be smashing out as well. The weekly vlogs do well in season. It's going to be a huge year channel-wise. However, probably not too much content change from last year. However, do want to get some big collabs going with a few creators that I'm not gonna name here, but we will definitely get some collabs going.
Freo, you are a die-hard Freo fan, as you talked about just then. Do you think... he's got the Freo jumper.
He's got the Clash jumper on there.
I think that jumper honestly should be a home, but that's controversial. I like that jumper better. But how do you think your Dockers are going to go?
Oh, God. Well, last year was just the best year I've seen us play. Probably for, 10 years, I reckon. And, look, finally, just, being up in the top 8 feels so good. We've been such an average team the past 4 to 5 years, and I've just been getting sick of it. So, this year, I expect big things. Obviously, unlucky to miss out on the top 4 last year, but that's all right. We had a decent finals win against the Dogs, and then got smacked by Collingwood second week. However, yeah, I reckon this year's going to be better than last year. I'm just hoping for us to finish in a top 4 placement, get another final in Melbourne. If we win a final in Melbourne, oh my God, that's going to be a dream come true to witness that.
Yeah, honestly, the Dockers, you've been in one grand final, and as a Hawthorn fan, it was pretty good for my side of the grand final. One of the 3 peats finals, so I was pretty happy, but I'd love to see Freo win a premiership. They're honestly one of my top teams, just because their jerseys, I feel like they've had, in the shortest time, they've had probably the best looking jerseys. I mean, as a Freo fan for you, what do you think of their jumper? Do you actually like their home jumper that they've had for 20 years?
Oh, look, I would definitely prefer the retro, just like the colour scheme and obviously the originality of it and stuff. But what I've got on underneath, it's a very basic jumper. That's sort of what I want them to improve on. Maybe add a bit of green, like what they did for this year's Clash Guernsey. They've added the purple on the side. That should look pretty clean. However, we're just going to see the boys in action and see how they look this year on the field wearing the jumpers, I reckon.
Yeah, if I had to choose my favourite for a jumper, it'd probably just be the original anchor. I feel like, honestly, that's the best looking jumper you've had. But the retro 3D anchor was pretty damn good this year as well. So
Elite.
That was a great jumper. But you're also a pretty big TikToker as well. I feel like it's pretty forgotten that you're a pretty good TikToker as well. What is your guide to TikTok? Because TikTok, it's a bit of a different thing to YouTube. Like with TikTok, you don't have to be that consistent. You can just have a banging one and get a following.
And
but
definitely, Lachy Miller can relate to this as well. He had one video that got nearly 30 mil views. He's nearly cracked the 100k followers, which is just off one video. But yeah, it is a bit of luck as well. But you got to know when to post, and like all these TikTokers are saying, like you got to post 4 times a day. It's just sort of bullshit. You can upload whenever you want, and like some videos hit, some videos don't. Like me doing a bloody training video a month and a half ago, got 80k, and then following videos got a few thousand. So it's really just about the quality of content that you post, and if it like stands out to them in the first few seconds. And yeah, it's sort of crazy how I've nearly got more TikTok followers than YouTube subs. Because I remember last year it was Carlton Saints. I think it was a Friday night. This bloke comes up to me. He's like, "Oh, right, Henchie, I've been seeing your TikToks," and I genuinely don't think he knew who I was from YouTube. So there are a few more fans that are like different from YouTube to TikTok as well, which is a bit crazy.
yeah, and just on the topic of fans, do you have many fan encounters? Because when at Footy Fest, when I was hanging around Cardi, at one point he had a queue of people queuing up to take a photo with him.
Yeah, obviously not as much as Cardi. When you think about it, he's got 20, what has he got, 23, 24k, which is crazy. 24,000 people. Like, he gets noticed quite a bit, like in the craziest places too. trains. He gets noticed absolutely bloody everywhere. Obviously, I'm not at his level yet, but when you're in that sort of footy environment, like the footy festival, there are a few people that came up to me, and like at footy games as well, like people bloody notice me while I'm working. So it's it is pretty cool how like people get to notice you. I guess that's your sort of dream when you start YouTube. Then when it happens, like sometimes you can be like, oh god, I don't really want to be in this situation right now. But I guess looking back on it, like 100%, it feels so good getting recognised, and it happens a little bit just like when you're in the right setting.
Yeah, and of course you've been working at the MCG, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
It's made for some pretty great vlog content. I will admit,
It has.
I did run into you. I think it was day two of the test match, and I took a photo with you.
I thought that was you.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought that was you. Looking back,
Yeah.
I was looking back on that like a week ago or something. I was like, I swear that was Menza. He looks so similar to Menza. And I was wearing this jumper as well, wasn't I?
Yeah. You're wearing that
I
jumper.
remember that.
Yeah, I was. Oh, that's all right. Henchie, you just walked past me. But yeah, that was a pretty funny moment. Well, Ryder, thanks for hopping on. It's been absolutely great to have you on. You're a bit of an icon in the AFL and TikTok community. So yeah, thanks for hopping on. It's been good fun.
Yeah, all good. I really appreciate it. Pleasure to be on and keen to get on in the future again.
Yeah, everyone go subscribe to Ryder, who makes some real high quality AFL content. But yeah, thanks for hopping on.
Easy. Cheers, Menza.
Well, everybody, I'd just like to thank everyone for tuning into episode 1 of the Rovers podcast. I know this wasn't really a real podcast start, but great to get a couple absolute iconic AFL YouTubers to have a chat with me on the first episode. The next episode will be coming out pretty much this time next week. It's going to be an absolute huge episode. It's going to be a lot more football related. Of course, this episode is really just having a chat to a couple people. Next week, we're going to play a couple games with the people we get on. Next week's people we get on are still to be confirmed, but I mean, I know who they are right now, and it's going to be an absolutely action-packed episode. We've got a couple of real YouTube legends and really one superstar hopping on for the podcast next week. So everyone tune in for it. Thanks everyone for hopping on the Rovers podcast today. And see you next week.